Hello, my name's Adam John Richardson. It's good to see you. Let's talk about types of scales. Specifically, we're talking about scales we'd use to measure items that we'd use for data purposes. I'm going to use the example of a high school gym class basketball tournament. Let's say your gym teacher wants to break you up into teams. Have you ever been in a situation where the gym teacher says, all right, count up through 4 and then repeat as you go through. So the first person says 1, the next person says 2, etc. You continue on, and that way you break up into groups. Well, essentially we're using what's called a categorical scale here, and a nominal scale is another phrasing. The idea is we're not worried about the relationships between the numbers or the labels. If we have a red team and a blue team, all we're worried about is that we're creating groups, distinct groups. And so that's the first step in this tournament. Now, maybe you play part of the season, it's heated competition, and eventually it's going to culminate in a tournament. And your gym teacher seeds you according to how well you did during the regular season. Well, this seeding, this is an ordinal scale. By that we mean that the numbers actually do meaningfully represent some type of order. The 1 seed is actually perceived to be the best team in the bracket because of how they performed during the regular season. The 4 seed is actually the team that performed the poorest. Now, the relationship between the numbers, we have an order, but the distance, how much better is the 1 seed than the 4? We don't have that type of information. This is just an ordinal scale. We just have an ordered rank here. We can't really say that the 2 seed is twice as good as the 4 seed or anything like that. We just know that there's some type of order. Now, let's say you have an ultra competitive team in your gym class, and they're sneaky. They sneak into your gym class ahead of time, into the location, into your gym, and they turn the temperature down to 0 degrees Fahrenheit because their thought is, they play better in the cold and everyone else isn't coming dressed for this type of situation. They're going to win. Well, let's talk about it in terms of scales. The temperature reading is an interval scale. We now actually do have a meaningful relationship in terms of the distance between each value. There's a consistent distance between 0 degrees and 10 degrees Fahrenheit, and there's a consistent distance between 10 and 20. Those ranges of 10 degrees, they're the same. However, we don't have a true 0. They could have turned the thermostat down even lower. That doesn't mean that there's no heat in that gym. It just means that it's super cold. Now, the gym teacher's smart, though. Don't worry. You're thinking, no, they cheated. They won. No, the gym teacher made them run laps until they heated the gym. And then they proceeded with the tournament. Now, we're through several of the scales, but there's one more, the most powerful. We can also speak about relationships, numerical relationships, where we have the distance between them that's meaningful. There's a consistent interval, but additionally, we have a true 0. That just means 0 represents 0. In the temperature example, 0 degrees Fahrenheit actually isn't 0 heat. It just is a reading on a thermometer. We could talk about Kelvin if we wanted a true ratio scale there. Here, the score is a ratio scale. There is a true 0. Some team might have 0 points, and that means there is the absence of points for that team. That would be unfortunate if they finished that way. And so this is the most powerful of scales. So our gym class basketball tournament helps us understand these scales. And so again, to review, we start out with categorical nominal scales. They're the most basic. We're just grouping. Then we work our way up to ordinal scales because there is a meaningful order. And then we work our way up to interval scales because the distance between each of the measurements, that is something that is consistent. It is meaningful in that scale. And finally, the most powerful, the ratio scale has a meaningful, a real 0. I hope this helps, and I'll see you in the future. Bye.